Hey guys, as some of you know, my name is Riley, and this is my story. Growing up, my parents made us go to catechism every week, yet we never went to church. And in catechism, I never took things seriously. So growing up, I knew of God and believed in God, but I didn't actually know Him. My freshman year of high school, tragedy struck me and my family. My mother was hospitalized and put in a coma for weeks due to some bizarre intestinal complications. These weeks were the hardest weeks of my life. I often went day to day not knowing if I was going to have a mom anymore. Instead of turning to God for help, I turned to Him to blame Him for this. I was frustrated, and I'd ask Him things like, why me and my family? I was diagnosed with clinical depression when I was 9 years old, but didn't become severely depressed until my first semester of college. This was when I hit my rock bottom. I made a huge mistake of moving out of my house and into a tiny apartment by myself. This left me feeling lonely and feeling like I had no one to turn to. This is when the depression severely set in. Now, I have been on antidepressants for 10 years, and up to this point, nothing worked. The depression was so bad that I often contemplated taking my own life and questioned if living was really worth it. I would try to find joy in partying, but that only helped for a few hours. Nothing helped permanently. I remember one night before I fell asleep telling myself, if I wake up in the morning, and I hope I don't, I'm checking myself into the hospital for help. This is when I realized how low I sunk. If the meds were working, this wouldn't be happening. Well, I woke up the next morning and I was actually feeling decent for once, so I decided to just go on with my normal day. The day after that, I went and got lunch and came back to eat it at school. I sat down next to one of my buddies from speech class, and little did I know, he was talking with someone from crew about God. They talked to me and told me how much God loved me and how He forgave me for all my wrongdoings. Now, God knew I was desperate to be accepted and fit in, so He used that negative thinking I had and changed it and used it for the better for me. I knew my own plan for my life wasn't working, so I had to do anything in my power to find something new. And after talking with them for a couple of weeks, I decided to dedicate my life to Christ. What made me want to make this commitment was finally knowing the love of God and finally feeling like I had a purpose He gave to me. When I truly felt the presence of God's love in my life, and I prayed to receive Christ as my Lord and Savior, it was like my chains that were holding me down were broke. I was set free from all the negative thoughts and actions in my life. After I started my walk with the Lord, amazing transformations started happening in my life. I started meeting new people from crew who encouraged me to grow my relationship with God. Up to this point, I'd never read the Bible, but when I started to read it, it was like new doors were opened in my life for me to explore through. In the past year, God has opened up so many opportunities for me that I will be forever grateful for. He has also performed so many miraculous things in my life that truly made me want to grow my relationship with Him. If you ever know anyone struggling with depression or suicide, or feeling helpless and lonely, help them to God. Help them to understand the love God has for them, and let them know that this love will never change. Now, I'm not saying by simply receiving Christ you will have no troubles. We all have troubles with or without God. But you'll have someone to turn to, someone to trust in and have faith in. And from my experience, God and His love for me was the only thing that could have truly set me free. Thanks, guys.